I think we're going to start to get reaction in terms of how the series has actually been received as the coming days proceed. Having said that, the trailers certainly garnered a huge amount of attention. I think overall in the US, the Sussexes have typically been granted a rather more sympathetic ear than they have in the UK. But we are starting to see a little pushback. And it was quite interesting to see, certainly on the morning shows, which are generally very friendly, a friendly way to start the day, there has been some criticism of how many more times are we to hear this story? Is it appropriate that Harry and Meghan are still complaining? Interesting, this morning on one of the morning shows, I'm not going to name it, but the anchor said to the reporter in the UK, you watch the series so we don't have to. So that sort of suggests that perhaps there isn't quite as much interest as we've been led to believe. When William and Kate were in Boston last week, a lot was made, particularly in the UK, about this battle to win the PR war here in the US. Who is going to win ground in the US? And I think what people forget is that the US is a very large country. Now, people often think outside of America that there's the East Coast and the West Coast, and then, of course, there's that vast bit in the middle. So, of course, there are diehard royalists that have been following the royal family for the years. There are people that got interested in the royal family because of Meghan's presence, and they do have a very large following here. There's no question they've got a large following here. Equally, there's a huge number of people who simply don't care. There are people who don't know who they are. And there are people who just think that the royal family is nothing more than a soap opera. So I think very little is going to change on the back of what we've seen so far. I think the 3 episodes that came today, they were fairly underwhelming in the grand scheme of things. There were a few kind of pointed digs, but there weren't any of the bombshells that the trailer had led to believe we were going to be hit with. We do still have 3 episodes to come. So we're going to have to wait and see on that. Yes, it is generational. I think the slightly older generation tends to lean more towards support for the royal family. They admired the Queen tremendously. A number of them lived through the Diana years and felt very sympathetic towards her. There's wavering popularity when it comes to our new Queen consort, Camilla. But I think as well, there was huge support for Meghan, particularly when she married in. And then, of course, when she was perceived to have been treated poorly in the UK by people of colour that relate to her. Suddenly, there was a member of the royal family that looked like them, and she was one of them because she was American. It was kind of ticking all the boxes of the fairy tale dream. And so I think people really jumped on that bandwagon. They were excited about it. When she came back and the Oprah interview came out, and that was bombshell after bombshell, there was a tremendous amount of sympathy because racism is a very hot topic here, and for good reason. It is an insidious disease here, and anyone that says racism is worse in England than it is in the US it's just not an accurate assumption at all, or assessment at all. So I think there are a huge number of people here that, while they can't identify with being a member of the royal family, they resonate with her daily experience being a biracial woman. I would be surprised. I don't see why she would want to jump into the political arena when she has the most incredible philanthropic platform at her disposal. Given she is married to a prince of the United Kingdom, Harry and Meghan have every opportunity at their footsteps if, of course, they choose to seize it. And I'm hoping that this is going to be sort of their last chitter-chatter about the past, and that they'll look to the future with optimism and to get on with these charitable endeavours that they have spoken about. I think if she were to enter the political arena, that would squash a lot of what it is she hopes to achieve. So never say never, but I would be surprised.